everyone. Welcome to the Vegan Stew. We haven't been on since I don't know when. August? July? It's been a month and we are super happy to be back. And having trouble streaming to all these places on Facebook. That's awesome. Let me see if I can fix that while we are live. And I don't believe that I'm going to be able to. So we're just going to have to, I guess, watch on YouTube because nothing on Facebook is working. Well, that's fun. So thank you for watching on YouTube. And if one of the Stew crew can go on and do the interwebs and post that you have to watch on YouTube tonight, that would be amazing because you can't see us on Facebook. Love technology. It's one of our favorite things. And part of going live is to, you just adjust on the fly. But welcome to the Vegan Stew. Thank you to the Gentle Barn for sponsoring this month's talks. And if you like contests, you can go to virtualvegfestlive.com and enter our contest where we have 12 prize packs that we give away monthly. It is still the same. Our sponsors are Hodo Foods, Total Body Lab, Kathy Hester, Cinnaholic, BV Kids, VegKey, Dojo Fresh, Bitchin' Sauce, Fabulous, Terraseed, Trufo Treats, and Bernie Wild's Adventure Sauce. Thanks to them for sponsoring and for you for entering the contest. You get a chance to win these really cool prizes. I love when people post and tag us to let us know what they've won because these sponsors are sending out some really cool stuff. And if you're not entering, that you're missing out on the opportunity to win. And that's not my fault. I'm giving you the contest to do it. Let's say, again, thanks to Gentle Barn. And if you have any comments, let me see. Hi, Walter. Thanks for being back. That's awesome. And then hi, Susan. YouTube is working. That's great. So thank you for finding us and realizing that you have to go to YouTube to watch us tonight because Facebook is the connection. Probably because I set this up a month ago. And I mean, I was like, I haven't talked live like this in like a month, so I'm just like ready to go. Tonight, we are probably going to catch up. You're probably going to watch a lot of conversation amongst the Stew crew of us just catching up with one another. And we hopefully will get to DxE and talk about that. And if we don't, we'll talk about it next week because that's something that we can do. So let me bring in the Stew crew. We have Ellen Jaffe Jones.
Cheers.
Who is fighting a cold. So she'll sound like she's been smoking 50 years, but looks fantastic. And we've got Marla Rose
Cheers.
from Vegan Street. And we've got Sovereign from Morella Mooring. And looking forward to hearing what's going on with Sovereign. And let's see, Dr. Shayla, COVID. I don't mean to laugh, but I've been dodging it. So I've really been dodging it. And it's just a matter of when, not if, I think at this point for everyone again. And then Kelly is celebrating her daughter's birthday. So hopefully next week, Kelly will be able to join us. And then Kayla may join us late. So you may see Coach Kayla along with us. So let's see. I don't know where to begin. I have had a month that just the other day I spent the night in an airport, which I don't recommend overnight. It's canceled flights and delayed flights, and it was exhausting. We came home and we stayed in bed for 24 hours, which I don't do, but I couldn't keep my eyes open. So I just try to watch television and I would just be out. And we ordered food. Here's the thing. Here's a little tip I said to Steven. Never let me order the food in these situations because he went and got the bags and he was like, what didn't you order? I had enough food for 3 days.
Well, yeah, that's our lineage.
That is exactly it. That is part of being Jewish and just something that I grew up with, that it's not, I do that for our team. Like after the festival, I'll go shop all the vendors for food. Ellen's seen it. And then I just bring and sit, we sit at a table and I just put everything that I purchased out on the table. And it's they're all everyone's kind of like, "Oh, I wanted to try that." I was like,
Right.
I was like, I just go and shop our vendors. I was like, I have to feed my team. I have to feed my team. And
That's
I would
awesome.
definitely feed the team. So between that and of course, Troy has moved in. He has ALS, and we're taking care of him in the house, which is uh, the hardest thing I've ever done because our healthcare system sucks.
Yeah.
What else has been going on? Obviously, Veg Fest. Yeah, that hasn't stopped. We did Georgia in August, and we go to Nashville. I go to Nashville tomorrow.
When does
The
this
biggest one.
generally quiet
When
down?
when is well, we have 4 left.
Okay.
One I still have to get open,
How
and
many were ahead of
we've
now?
done 6.
Okay. Mhm.
So I have 6 out of 10. We'll go to Nashville, then we'll go to Asheville, and then we'll go to Chattanooga, and then we'll go to the Triad, and then I'll go to LA for the VKine experience, which
Mm.
everyone needs to come to the VKine experience. It's absolutely amazing. I highly recommend. It's Los Angeles, so you can't go wrong with Los Angeles. You just come to eat. And then the VKine experience is like 13 rooms that are interactive with a
Oh,
vegan food and just super, super cool. Nothing ever has been done like it.
wow.
Nothing ever
That's
has been like
interesting.
it has been done. So that, that's November. And then in December, anyone can guess if you know me where we're going in December. We're
Disneyland.
going to Disney. Yes, we're going to Disney for my birthday, and they will just
Is
collapse.
that an annual tradition then on your birthday?
It
Oh, that's
is.
nice. That's
It
really cool.
Yeah. So that's how we're finishing out our year, hopefully. But what is everyone? Ellen has been like top notch selling real estate.
Woo!
And of course, I know you're running your races and you're on. I see you post pictures on the podium, so that's not surprising.
283 now that I've placed
Mm.
since 2006. Just on plants.
Just on
Mhm.
plants, exactly. And Walter, I rummage out there. I have not.
I haven't either, but I've heard amazing things.
So that could be added to
Mhm.
our list of things to do
Yeah.
when we're out there.
Right.
Thank you for
But
the
that should be a
suggestion.
problem, right? With how many places there are now. It's a good problem to have, but it's like, okay, second lunch, third dinner.
You just have to stay another week.
Yeah.
No.
Right. But also not only the food, which is amazing and so much more widespread than it used to be, but I just, because of social media, which definitely has its many downsides, I know so many people in so many places now that you kind of have to have all these meals to fit it all in. Yeah. And
Right.
like the last time we went to New York, I had to be texting people being like, okay, do you know so and so? And are you okay with so and so? And then could we have dinner together? Like,
Yeah, I normally just throw people together, and I don't care if you know or to get along. I don't really ask because it's easier to just bring everyone to one and
yeah.
just socialize with them in that moment of time than it
Mhm.
is to go and see each of them individually, which is
Yeah.
hard
Yeah.
for
No.
me. It's hard for me to
Mhm.
do that, but we did in New York because we were in New York City last week. We did go out with Marty from Marty's Bee Burgers and his wife Carol. We went to a restaurant called a Nixie,
Mhm.
and the restaurant was gorgeous, hands down one of the most beautiful restaurants I've ever been in.
What's the name of it?
And
Anixi?
a Nixie, Anixi,
Mhm.
and they were late because their Uber canceled and they had to get another Uber. They're all the way uptown. So they were about 25 minutes after we got there. So we ordered like this sampler thing of all these different dips. And I was
Oh,
I was like, this is amazing. I
is
just
it
from
all
the dips
vegan?
and the bread. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, all vegan restaurant by a
Mm.
chef he's also the owner of Beyond Sushi.
Of what?
Beyond Sushi.
Oh,
Oh God, that place is so good. Yeah.
Right. So he's the same owner chef of that and Willow and this other one. I've been to Willow, but this is one of the best restaurants we've ever eaten in.
Is
And
it
we
kind of
just
mid-range in price?
well, I can give you an idea. We ordered that sampler thing with the bread was like $35. It was like 5 dips and
That's amazing.
the bread and pita bread. It was like comes with two different types of bread. And they give you choices.
Oh,
There's like a pita chip choice, and I was like no, and then a gluten-free choice, I believe. And
well,
then we got, oh my gosh, we ordered 1, 2, 3, 4 other items from like the main type of meals, plus a side of confit potatoes, and then 2 desserts, which both the desserts were delicious, but one was just like super awesome.
oh.
And the total bill, and they had, I think Carol had like 3 wines. Stephen and
Not that
Marty
you were
both. Well, it's good to go. So to give like to understand how much the bill was, Stephen and Marty both had an alcoholic drink. I drank water, and the bill came to under $400.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
And that's like 6, 4, 5. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you had like
there
a
was
large.
4 of us,
Yeah,
and
that's not bad at all.
they
Yeah.
took home the leftovers, and obviously we split the bill instead of we just split the bill, and it was I mean, it's hard to say because what am I saying? It's privileged to be able to have a meal like that, but for the amount of food, for the cost of the
Yeah.
money, for being in New York
Quality.
City,
Mhm.
and that was a well worth it meal.
Mhm. It
So
sounds like it.
yes, and
Mhm.
I like going out with them because they like to eat.
They splurge.
They like to, and we just had so many things. So I was definitely a highlight of the trip to New York City. But the Plant Based World Expo was really good,
Mhm.
and met a lot of people, saw people I know, saw I met a lot of new businesses. I've been emailing with some of them. Some of them I want to sell at our booth because it's like super good. I have like
Mhm.
garbage in there, like it's one of them, and it's just yeah, it's been a wild and traveling month. I mean, what's going on? Bless
Bless
you.
you, Ellen.
Yep. It's good. I'd love to see like the snot come on the screen. That'd be amazing.
Vegans
So,
don't get sick. Yes, they do.
yes, they
So
do.
the reason I'm sick, I think, is because I discovered, and if anybody is over 65, pay attention. You too, if you have Plan B in your coverage, can join any health club for free. Multiple health clubs. I now belong to 4 health clubs in
Oh,
Sarasota.
that's really cool
And
to
I
know.
probably got the virus at every single one. But
I've
it's so
got
cool. LA,
9 more
all
years
these
to
places
visit.
I've paid for over the years, and it's
Yeah,
like I'm finally getting rewarded because it's cheaper for the insurance companies to have healthy people, generally speaking, than sick people.
for sure. For sure.
And
Yeah,
even if you're not 65, somebody else, I was talking about this, and I know a guy who's pays $20 a month, and he can join any health club locally,
oh,
which
that's
is
This is
awesome.
through what insurance or?
You just have to check with your insurance
Okay.
plan,
It's
but mine
Medicare.
is United Healthcare
Yeah.
through AARP.
Okay. I'll have John check for.
Yeah.
He's that age where he could do that.
That's so
I'm
funny.
still a sprightly lass of 56.
Yeah, it's the Medicare Part B that you can pay for to supplement your Medicare
Okay.
insurance that everybody gets, but you need the supplements, otherwise you could get really screwed if you get sick.
Right.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And
Yeah.
it's only like 100 and some change a month.
Mm.
So
So if that's a lot for someone that's on Social Security.
Mhm.
yeah. But they pull it out of Medicare.
Mhm.
Or I'm sorry, Social Security. I don't even see it.
Yeah, but still I mean, there are some people who only have $800 in Social Security. So you imagine
Right.
like removing 100 something and then you're living on 600 for the month.
Right.
That's the messed up. So
We
it
need
could
Ellen's book.
it,
Eating
it's
vegan on what is it, $4 a day?
$4 a
Vegan
day.
on $4 still true.
Still true.
Right, even in the
Call
inflation.
you. But it's still really hard. It's I
It
mean,
is.
I'm dealing with Medicaid. as opposed to Medicare
Right.
for
That's true.
Troy,
Yeah.
and Medicaid is, gosh, it's difficult. The
Mhm.
latest thing is I hired somebody to we hired someone to take care of him while we travel.
Mhm.
And they were supposed to come like morning and night to get him out of bed, put him into bed so that, he's not in bed all day and he's like got somebody to do some of the things that he needs. That was my biggest concern because someone will be here obviously with the dogs and the cat, and she's going to feed him, and so that
That's
piece is all he's fed, he's all that, so that's taken care of. This
Mhm.
woman who owns this company says, okay, yeah, I'll do it, I'll personally do it. They live 7 minutes away. I'll come in the morning, I'll come at night, $30 an hour. And I was like, okay, sign the contract. And then I started following up. Are we good? Are we good for like the 14th to the 18th? Are we good? And letting you know, she canceled this morning. It's
Mhm.
impossible to hire somebody with a
Mhm.
day's notice. It's just
Mhm.
impossible. So let's see what Walter said.
So
I just go
irresponsible.
without insurance and don't pay my medical bills because I can't afford it well. Well, the good thing about medical bills is when it comes to bankruptcy or like forgiveness, that is the
Mhm.
one that you'll have a better and easier time to get forgiven for.
Mhm.
But I don't blame you based on
Right.
the system. You shouldn't even have to pay for coverage. And then he was in the hospital for like 7 weeks,
Right.
and first the amount of plastic and waste that's in a
Oh,
hospital is atrocious. Like
God.
even now, like the what's it called? The blood pressure like
Mhm.
bands or whatever, they're plastic. Like
Right.
they come in like if you just go once, they'll just wrap this thing around you and take it off of you and drop it in the garbage. What the
Mhm.
I
No,
was, it's the plastic straws, the styrofoam for the cups and everything.
Mhm.
It's just, you just kind of have to like be like, let me just tune this out.
Yeah.
But the lack of vegan food, the lack
Right.
of care, the fact that the hospital wanted to drop him into a hotel when he can't, like if I handed him a bottle of water, he couldn't open it.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's just I want to become a warrior for this. I want everyone needs to become a warrior for this. And here's a platform for that, even though we're not talking about our topic. But every single person who sees this, you one day will deal with this system.
It's terrible. Yeah.
It's terrible. So even though you're not dealing with it, you will deal with it.
Mhm.
You will know someone or love somebody, if not yourself, who is going to be in this system. And it's a system that it's severely broken that needs to be fixed. And I
Mhm.
do want to become a warrior for that with the time that I have,
Mhm.
which is
Mhm.
not a lot. So that's another, if I had more time, I might actually cut out a festival or two next year and fight for this,
Woo!
because
I love it.
it's, it's that important. Because it's
Mhm.
just seeing someone have to suffer and not
Mhm.
get, yeah, that one we already did.
Right.
So yeah, I know, Ellen. So,
So are we still doing what we did on our summer vacations?
yeah, what'd you do on your summer vacation?
I was just gonna say, so just a few things. One is, we went to see John's side of the family. I'm gesturing like that for some strange reason, in Minnesota. And we were in Duluth, which I've never been to, but it's just so beautiful and green. And did a lot of kayaking and a lot of relaxing, just a lot of, family time. But the main thing is a few little things. One is that we started our little free plant powered pantry in front of our house, and people are using it. So it's basically a little free library, but a double storied pantry where people can pick up what you call it, shelf stable foods that are all vegan. And then when it was really hot out, we had water in canned water, so it's a little more eco than the plastic ones. um, and we're going to keep going with it. People keep using it and needing it, so I'm happy for that. And then the last thing is next month will be Vegan Street's 25th anniversary. So we're excited about that and thinking about like what we want to do to celebrate. And yeah, so we're really excited about that. And the last little thing is two little things. One is I just wrote an article about ageism in the vegan movement for Veg News that will hopefully be in the wellness issue, which is like I think January, February. It's just a very kind of unexplored topic in society in general, but also in the vegan world, where we think that we have no biases, we have no bigotries. And the last little thing, and this is neither here nor there. I don't know why I feel compelled to say it, but I started in July anti-anxiety medication that's very much helpful for me. And it's this in addition to all the like lifestyle things, the dietary things that just could help me for years and years and years, but at a certain point they just weren't enough. So I'm able to sleep at night, which is nothing
Wow.
short of a miracle. I feel emotions still. The anxiety is like amputated, most of it. I have like the right amount still, like 25% anxiety. But anyway, I feel so much better. And, seeing you guys was always a delight, but just, I had like basically night terrors for years. And so I feel a lot better.
Yeah, I know you were like the only person I could talk to at 3 a.m.
Right. I mean, I kind of miss having that. I shouldn't even jinx it. I miss having those few hours of, windows of being able to get more done. But I love sleep so much better. I'm sleeping like 8 or 9 hours a night straight through. I'm not waking up groggy. It's been freaking amazing. So I just wanted to say that. We can do all the natural interventions in the world, and sometimes things are just outside outside of what we can fix, with all these interventions. And believe me, I've tried and tried and tried and tried, and I still do all those things, but the medication is helping.
Well, I'm glad that you said that because
Yeah.
we all know that you'll get crap for it. So, I mean, it's just the truth that people, you could fix cancer with like essential oils,
Eat more parsley. Yes.
but that's not true. So sometimes you need medicine, and
Right.
I know too many women right now that are going through breast cancer.
Mhm.
9,
Mhm.
8, 8,
Mhm.
8 is the last count. 8 vegan women. And
Really?
that's just the vegan women. I know more that aren't vegan
Right.
go on top of that. And
Mhm.
yes, really, Ellen, all different stages, all different ages. A few of them, their first mammograms.
Mm.
One, I'll tell you what about one. One has dense tissue. So she was
Mm.
getting a sonogram every 6 months and a
Mm.
mammogram the other 6 months, which is a big deal, right?
Mm.
Well, she went for a sonogram and they were like, we see something. So they
Mm.
sent her for a mammogram, which came out clear, and then further testing cancer.
Oh, jeez.
Detected by the sonogram, barely. Mammogram, no.
Oh, God.
And how many women also, public service announcement, how many women go for their mammograms? Well, one, how many women don't go for mammograms? You
Right.
need to. And
Yeah.
the ones that do go for mammograms, if you have dense breast tissue, you need to push to get a sonogram too.
Well, that's such a good
Yeah.
point. I
You
didn't
know, I've
know
done
that.
that because I'm right there, and in later years, they're just not very eager to do the sonogram.
But
Based on
because
that
like
experience.
you've lived long enough, so you can just have the cancer.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, well, 2 of the cases in my family were in their 30s, the other 2 were in their 70s.
Mhm.
So
Right.
here we are.
So it's just another, I mean, when I lived in California, they started me early, like in my 30s, my mid 30s to get mammograms and sonograms at the same time. And
Mhm.
then I moved back to New York and I didn't have insurance
Mhm.
for a very long time. And then when I finally was able to, they didn't I was like, what about a sonogram? And they were like, no, 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 not necessary. And then North Carolina, same thing. So I go to the gynecologist next week, I believe. And that's one of my things is if they say, oh, the books say you're not called for a sonogram, I'm going to be like, well, I want one.
Oh shit, Yeah, exactly. And that's what matters is you want one. You're not asking for them to move heaven and earth.
Right.
And the thing with me is like I was always someone who like I'll just keep it really as succinct as I can. My next door neighbor when I was growing up was my best friend, and her father, when he was in his 30s, developed cancer. He was the nicest man, like the most quote unquote godly man in the true sort of Christ-like Like he was just such a good, kind man. He died at 36, you know.
Oh, it's too
So
young.
I think it's just it's just built baked into Judaism, and our, like, we understand that bad things happen to good people. So I never was one of those vegans who was anti-medication. I'm definitely wary of big pharma and blah blah blah, but there are times when we need medical intervention, and we should be kind and gentle with ourselves, and we're not I think sometimes it gets to be more about the ego than anything, about, imperviousness. And I feel like sometimes it borderlines on eugenics to make these kinds of claims about immortality or whatever, you know.
Yeah. No, I hear you. It's and that, I mean, that's so it's so, I mean, that's like I said, knowing 8 vegan women in different stages and different ages who have breast cancer, and just learning about them, like 1 week, and within 1 week, 2,
Mhm.
and then knowing the ones that have been dealing with it for years, the double mastectomies, the decisions to get rid of both breasts because the odds are it'll be in the next one, and then you want to go through all this crap again, and then the drugs that they potentially have to take, the hormone blockers and stuff that they have to consider, and then there's chemo and radiation, and they're all different. And then
Right.
there's the one that's like really struggling,
Mhm.
some a lot really struggling to survive.
Mhm.
And that's not even including like the 6-year-old boy I know with brain cancer that's at St. Jude right now, fighting, his parents are fighting to save their child's life.
Mhm.
There's a curse, Marla and
Mhm.
Ellen, to knowing people, to knowing a lot of people. And that
Right.
curse is that you know all the bad in addition to the good.
Right. Mhm.
All the pets that pass away, all the
Yeah.
sickness that goes on. I mean, we get to see the positive in knowing people too,
Mhm.
but people tend to share more of the negative
Right.
when
Yeah.
things are going on, as opposed to all the, because no one likes to boast, look how great my life is, right? No, nobody wants to boast, even though I think we should boast about how
Right.
great our lives are. Fuck the people that say like, well, how can you afford that? Why are you doing that? Well, screw them, because what, you only want to hear my misery?
Right. Right.
The fact
Yeah,
that I've
no,
had vertigo
totally.
for like 30 days, great. I'm so glad I've had vertigo for 30 days. However, I've had an awesome time at other things during
Mhm.
the vertigo times.
Mhm.
Well,
So,
it's human nature, because that's how we escaped the elephants, is by looking behind us and fearing the negative. And it's like my news directors always said, good news doesn't sell, just bad news.
It's
So
true.
stop
Still
doing
today.
person of the week into good news stories. But are the vegan women that are these people personally?
mhm.
Like wow,
Yeah. Yep, yep, yep.
not wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I think there's just so much societal discomfort with disease and mortality. And then I think we have extra crap within the vegan world of, well, what did you do wrong? Were you,
Right.
like, and,
Did you eat
honestly,
oil? Were you eating
yeah,
processed
yeah,
foods?
right,
I'm like,
exactly. Did
I
you
mean,
relax?
one of them's a
I
really
mean,
clean eater. I mean,
no,
like
no,
healthy,
I mean, like,
active, I
John was
mean,
happy every day until he wasn't. You know what I mean? My
right.
husband, it was just very sudden. He was in, like, if people want to point fingers and assign blame, I think it has everything to do with their own anxiety and honestly lack of compassion. Because having anxiety is one thing, but wondering aloud how someone could bring a deadly disease upon themselves is one of the cruelest, if not the cruelest things I can imagine casually doing. But like, he was fit, he was in shape, he still is fit and in shape, but he had a deadly disease, and he was vegan for 25 years before he got it. Now, like, the finger pointers will say, what kind of vegan was he? A junk food vegan? Was
I
he
know.
like, he's just a normal person, loves produce, likes the occasional Beyond Burger, all the people who are finger pointing, you know what? We can look into their lives. We can look into their refrigerators. We can look into their habits, and we can finger point right back at them if we were so inclined. Nobody's so perfect. And if you are so perfect, quote unquote, I still think you're imperfect because you're not enjoying your life. So, anyway.
Because you're too busy on your
You're
keyboard
stressed out measuring
going
other
after other
people.
people. Exactly. Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean,
Mm,
so obviously, we haven't gotten together in like a month, and it's not like in the background we were all still like meeting.
right.
We all literally just separated for a month.
Yeah.
And it's the
So
first
I
time I'm
just
seeing everybody.
I just want to jump in on my vacation.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hope
yes.
you saw a movie. Have you seen it? Oh, cold brain. Racing Extinction by
No.
the gal who
That's
is
by
the vegan race
that
car driver.
that's by oh what I was just texting with her.
Yeah, she's
That's
amazing. I forgot.
Lalani Munter.
Yeah.
She moved to South Carolina. She moved to like the Columbia area,
Okay.
South Carolina. I was
Cool.
just texting with
So we
her
did
before
a meetup
Atlanta.
and had like 40 or 50 people, and
Nice.
it's really an
So you
incredible
streamed
movie. And
the
we did
con?
a Zoom with her afterwards.
Oh.
Um, and it's just the lack of understanding about how we're losing so many species, and you come away from the movie and they always try and end them with a little bit of hope, but after they've been dumped on,
It's hard.
um,
That's part of
just
my anxiety. I cannot take dystopian. Like, I know these things. I try to, wake the world up to it, but I cannot be in it. It's just too dark, and it drives all my motivation out of me.
right.
Well,
But it is
Lalani,
important.
yeah. Lalani and Jean Bauer actually did a mini documentary on the east coast of North Carolina about the pigs and about the
Oh
environment
yeah, nice.
that was funded by someone who passed away and left the money and said it has to be used in North Carolina.
Mm.
So
Right.
Lilani and Jean made this it's fantastic. So it won't put you into the darkness, except for the fact that, what's happening in Eastern North
Yeah.
Carolina.
Do you it's online?
I'd have to look.
Mm.
It's been years. I think it
Okay.
came out in 2018,
Okay.
but
Not that.
it must be out there. And Lilani is amazing. I'm so glad, Ellen, that you got
Mhm.
to see her and hear her speak. She's
Yeah.
an incredible human being, and I I I invited her to come to Atlanta, but she was going to be somewhere else for that weekend.
Yeah, and
So
just to hear her story about being a race car driver in such a man's world, and
yes.
wrapping her car with vegan stuff,
Mhm.
just way, way, way too cool. So,
Mhm.
at
That's awesome.
least when I see young people like that, stepping forward and, really putting their lives on the line and their incomes,
Mhm.
uh, it's just there is hope, I guess.
Right. Right. There
Oh
was
yeah.
a speaker. There was somebody interviewed on Weekend Edition on NPR over the weekend who said something interesting. It's just a little factoid. He's a researcher into like what motivates and what demotivates with the environmental messaging and stuff like that. And he said there's like something like 2% of the American public whose uh, climate anxiety is so high that it makes life challenging in the sense that like they get panic attacks, they doom scroll mentally, or you know
That's
um
about 2/3 of all vegans, right?
right. And then there's like 8% of the public who have climate anxiety but are still functional within it, in the sense of like we are not in denial about it, we're very anxious and worried about it, but we're still functional. So of that 8%, so there's, like I said, so like together it's like 10%, like the two who like 2% can't, they're just immobilized by the fears. So of the 8% though, it's a far higher percentage of those people who are activists, who are donating, who are, getting the petition signed, who are just actively trying to change the world. So it's not a bad idea to have some climate anxiety. It's just we need to get more people to see the reality of it, and without making them totally numb out,
Right.
So it's hard.
Lena,
It's
I
a,
was thinking,
yeah.
I was thinking of you because she was talking about children by no children by choice. Is that the group that you got all the?
Yeah, that wasn't. It was. It was the nonprofit called "Stop Having Children Now."
Okay,
Is a nonprofit that. That was last year.
but she's really talking about that.
I did an actual spit take just now. It's like, that is such a not like
It looks
inviting.
like you just got punched in the mouth. I'm just saying.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, Stop Having Children Now is
No,
the
so she was
nonprofit.
really
Yeah.
all about that.
Wiggle
You know.
room there.
And there's like just the caveat, there's nothing wrong with the fact that you all have children,
Totally.
right?
I love how blunt it is and how they put like all the cards on the table.
Oh yeah, they've got like the big circle with the red line. They definitely that they have very bold
Right.
lettering and like all that stuff for there. And when you post that on your social media in the South, it doesn't go over well.
Yeah.
Poor Chattanooga and Asheville. I was surprised about Asheville, but Asheville, I shouldn't be surprised about Asheville. Asheville is all over the place, but Chattanooga, man, whoo, they did not like that. And that was just, if they weren't even coming to Chattanooga, they were just coming to the Asheville event. And people from Chattanooga are like not that far. Well, 3.5 hours. Maybe it was Knoxville, not Chattanooga. It was Knoxville people because they're just over the mountain, and they didn't take it well. I guess it was Knoxville. They didn't take it well.
You driven out of town on the Chattanooga choo-choo?
Pitchfork wielding angry. I think there's many times where I could be, but there's always haters. Always haters.
With us.
Yeah. So to segue us, yes. Sovereignty, there. Do you want to talk about what's going on with you?
Oh, hi.
Hi.
I'm existing, so that's that. I mean, good news is that it's finally done.
Yes. I was wondering if you're going to say that. And
it's finally over?
The divorce is done.
Yeah. I let's just say that I got there early. His attorney pissed off the judge. That went in my favor because he didn't show up. He showed up virtually. And the judge was not happy that the attorney showed virtually. And because he was arrogant, thanks, Justice. We were supposed to be seen at 9 a.m. We got seen at the second to last case of the day. And
oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a whole long day.
Yeah, because he decided to be a jerk. But it was less than 10 minutes. The judge literally was like, for lack of better, okay, fuck this and fuck you. It's over. It's done. Case is closed. I don't hear any more of your mouth.
That's awesome.
You're a horrible. It stands. Yeah, you're a horrible attorney. Your client, and it was funny because he apparently, where was it hilarious? Apparently, he didn't know, his attorney didn't know if he was there on that day. So he literally was asking his client, "Were you present?" And he was quiet. And then the assistant to the judge, I just wanted to give her a big hug, but I was just like, I want to get out of the court and just go. But she was, she was whispering, no, she was like, not even whispering because there were only a few of us. She was like, yeah, oh yeah, he was here virtually. He was here the day of the thing.
Wow.
And so the judge was like, so you were here, and then just crickets. And I'm just like with the mask on underneath. I'm like, this is why you just wasted money, but this is great. Just do this. And so he was like, well, you're here. This is done. So it can't go to like he can't appeal it in any way. It stands. The order stands. It's over. And so I'm still processing it. It took a lot for me to. I just kind of was in shell shock for weeks. Like,
Yeah,
this is done.
because you
now.
had been, yeah.
Stress. So now I am just trying to. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've heard from friends that who are maybe
Control yourself, Marla. Control yourself. I knew. Sorry, Summer. I just knew that Marla was going to correct Justice. I just knew it. So
it's really interesting. I heard that it can take years. This kind of only took like maybe almost a year, 6 months. It'll be a year officially in December. So
how long have you been broken up though?
March of, well, completely not. We broke up or separated, but we were still living under the same roof once I found out. So like November of 2022, and then November 2021. I'm sorry, and then when I ended up in the hospital, and he just up and kind of bounced like peace out. So it's been officially March 26th, and I filed for the divorce because I was terrified because of the threat to kidnap with the kids and things like that, and harm towards me. I went ahead and did it on the 16th of March, and it was official in December. Like, it was granted in December. And then he just kept kind of doing everything that he was doing, but the judge was just like, "You're done. It's done."
To punish you, basically, right?
Yeah, punished. So now I'm just kind of navigating things, and I'm still in Georgia.
I think I'm sorry.
Still not a good environment, but in terms of business wise, taking a different direction with Voth. I was doing some thinking. I've decided to officially launch the atelier. That's going to be in October. I posted kind of a sneak peek of the Black collection. That's exactly how it looks as well. I was doing all of the work for it artistically and design wise for that. So everything is going to be kind of in limited, like odd numbers. So like orders of 7 and 7, and just trying to like start off small.
Can you remind us what the products are?
Yeah. So I have for the Black collection, they are custom. They're still like the perfumes. I am doing some body. Katamia is one of the most popular products I ever had. So someone asked me if it was coming back, and I said I am doing it as also a body scrub, and I didn't expect to hear a squeal when it's typed. It's one thing to like type it, but when you can hear it, it's hilarious. So I'm doing like body scrub on some things. Some perfume oils will return, some are not. They were discontinued. I found a new company that I really love that does functional oils. So yeah, I'll be doing some candles as well. I'll be doing things for altars. And
I'm such a customer.
and I'll be doing, of course, like home decor. And it's very much it's very much going into like the avant-garde, because I have my degree is so in college, and oh yes, I will definitely provide for your altar. And then Boss Fest is changing because I was approached when I went to the Vampires Ball in February. There were not a lot of BIPOC. There apparently was an uptick because I was announced as an ambassador, but I was just like, that shouldn't be the case. It's great, but it shouldn't be where there feels like there's not a space for us. So I was just like, well, if I were to do it, I would kind of do it kind of this way. And I was just like, well, wait a minute. And my friend, the person I was talking to, she was like, I would love it. Oh my God. And I'm just like, there's so many, instead of there being the repeat of what is seen all the time, no offense, because of course, you're trading Victorian where it's beautiful. There are other aesthetics within that scene. And I said, I think I want to do that. And I was like, this is a perfect way also to tie in doing the drag shows, like the Wake the Dead, doing the Vampires Ball, right there the next day. And then the Bath Fest itself would be like a market on the following to close. So that's the direction that I'm taking it. And then so House of Sovereign Productions instead of being what that would fall under. And I would do it next year, probably in Atlanta at the La Maison Rouge in Underground Atlanta. So I'm trying to just refocus and retool. Morella Morning is being completely strict. And I had to, so I'm slowly taking things down off of the IG. Some people are saying, why are things gone? It still holds a lot of weight because there's still a little part of the relationship involved because of the backstory. No one knows the backstory. The pictures are great, but the backstory, like, you know, behind the scenes, it was pretty hard to some extent. Some of the pictures and things like that I did with the Addams Family is more of the direction I'm going.
That's awesome. I think that's going to be really well received.
Yeah, I hope so. And then I'll release a cookbook of just the recipes that I do have already. I already kind of have it, so it'll be something not too big, but I need to come out before Halloween. So
like a JPEG PDF kind of.
No, it will be it's a book. I'm doing it.
Okay.
It'll be printed. You can order hardcover, soft book. So I'm doing that to get those out because it's not that I'm ashamed of them. There's a lot of work that was put in there, but I don't want to look at something and be like, I have no attachment anymore because of what it is holding. There's a little one coming in here. My kids, if you can hear them in the background.
Hi, say hi.
Sovereign, I was just going to say that even when you're on
The show,
you know, when the trauma is, and the very difficult time is behind you, you still have a lot of healing. You know, it's not like you're going to be instantly happy and full of energy. Like that just took a lot out of you because you only dealt with it for a year, but it put you through a major ringer during that time. It was like very concentrated.
And the time leading up to it too.
Yeah, it's lonely. It's been lonely because you don't. That's where medication for mental things is great. Okay, but it's been lonely because you just kind of like I said, you don't know where to tread. You don't want to over speak. You don't want to make anyone else feel down. You're just kind of like, what do you do or who do you talk to? And you don't want to, be that person. You need an outlet. And
then there's personal hard times too. I mean, it wasn't, life hasn't been gentle.
No, it's been like there's no break.
Right. No break, but hopefully it should start to smooth out. Should start to smooth out.
How old are your kids?
Right.
No.
9 and 10.
That's a great age for boys. Like 10-year-old boys are like the sweetest on the planet. Then hormones. So this is that 6th grade, 5th, 6th grade time.
Oh yeah.
It's a great time. Yes. Before like the end of 6th grade, you're pretty well set. and then hormones.
Our issue, like why Justice went to a different school, is he was still kind and a decent human being, but the peers around him were not.
Well, the boys are homeschooled. They're in 3rd grade, and their school that they go for their special ed for IEP, they're in the Super Scholars group, and they're just really excelling, and I'm so proud of them. And they're just they had a visit with their pediatrician, and she hadn't seen them in like 1.5 to 2 years, and so when she walked in, she was like, I haven't seen you guys in a long time. And then she looked at them and she was like, I haven't seen you. What just happened? I was like, they're tall. And she was like, oh my God. And she was like, they're my height. She was like, their ages are what again? I said 9 and 10. She's like, oh, you're in trouble.
And eating her out of house and home.
Oh yeah, mostly the oldest one who like my mom will stare at him all the time. She's like, there's no way. Like he had a growth spurt like crazy over the summer. So he's 5. He's about 5'1", 5'1.5", and my 9-year-old is 5 foot. they're like an inch and a half away from each other. So I'm like,
Oh,
you're gonna hit puberty. Oh God. So
are you tall, Sovereign?
I'm 5'11".
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. And my the co-creator
Co-creator, the co-creator, the sperm donor.
he was 6'5", and
6'5".
Oh, I didn't
These
realize he
are
was that tall.
really
Oh my goodness.
tall ones. Yeah.
height
Yeah,
runs on my mom's side of
you're
the
gonna have
family.
massively tall children.
Height runs on my mom's side of the family too. So all the boys are like 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". I have some tall uncles. I have some tall aunts, 5'11" and up. And the tallest cousin that I have, she is 7'2".
What?
Yeah. She was scout. She was in college. Like they were trying to scout her like crazy for WNBA. She's like, I just want to study. So
It's fun when the people are really tall. They're like, I don't know how to play basketball. And you're like,
Yeah.
what a waste of height. No, sorry.
that's the African.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? I can't believe I'm watching this because I have zero, and I mean zero. In fact, probably negative interest in sports, but I'm watching this documentary about the Bulls in the
Chicago.
1990s. I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever it's called. Anyway, it's interesting because, I was living in Chicago at the time. It's just when I met John, it was interesting. But both Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan were kind of on the shorter side when they started college, and they both had lots of interest in basketball. They were like, I think, respectively 6 foot and 6'1". Nobody thought they would have a future in it. They just weren't tall enough. I think Michael Jordan grew 4 inches in college, and Scottie Pippen grew to like 6'8" in college. But I feel almost like it was like sheer force of will. I
need to make the NBA and I need to grow. So let me put myself on the rack.
Right.
And stretch my body 4 or 5 inches.
It's just crazy. I mean, I know it is possible, but it's rare, to grow when you're 18.
Yeah, the very late bloomers. I mean, a lot of guys are very late bloomers. They will fill out in college. They don't fill out in high school.
But they were tall already. They just weren't basketball tall,
Right. It's so funny. So to touch on our topic, right? Because it's important. I mean,
we'll bring it back.
Though, we'll talk about it some more. But to touch on it, DxE, direct action everywhere. Cult. I'll say it. Apologies to you who are in it. You're in a cult, and that's just like Trumpism is a cult. DxE is a cult, and what was the other one? The Cube cult. They're just cult.
Which was the other one?
The Cube. Isn't that the DxE is not the Cube, right?
Oh,
direct action everywhere.
The ones who do the
I think there was overlap.
Q people, because they came out of direct. Who was it before direct? I might be conflating. Direct action might be the Q people, but I can't remember. Either way, they pry on people who are anonymous with the voiceless. Yes, cult again. They prey on people who are so distraught by what's going on with animal rights, with animal ag and animals being harmed. That people who tend to be in that are hurting in some form or some way, and they look to bring you into that group mentality, that we know how you feel mentality, and then they do really bad things to women. Marley, you'll probably know more because I can't remember. This was before we went on break. That girl in California who's on trial, that they're supposed to pay her legal fees. It's DxE supposed to pay her legal fees, and just kind of dropped her.
Right. And I mean, like, I'm going to parse my words carefully because I don't want to miscommunicate what I understand. But what I understand is this person, I don't remember her name, had been involved with DxE for a number of years and got arrested at an action that was already pre-planned. And it wasn't like a spontaneous, like, oh my God, it's she and a bunch of other people, like 4 or 5 other people all got arrested. To my understanding, she was reassured again and again that they would cover all the legal bills. And what happened, to my understanding, is there was a younger person who was also involved with DxE, came to the United States from, I want to say, like Nicaragua or Guatemala as a teenager, moved into the DxE house, perhaps, or like one of the offshoot apartments. Not 100% sure on that. She left DxE maybe 6 or 7 months ago, I don't know, and is alleging that she was being groomed as a young woman, that DxE is a cult, and that it was basically cultic abuse that she was experiencing, as well as grooming. That's my understanding. I could be wrong. My second understanding is that this woman who had been arrested on their behalf was consoling her in a private chat, this younger woman, about what she had experienced. And this chat was turned over to DxE's, like, it was a chat involving numerous people, had been turned over to DxE's leadership, and they decided they were cutting this woman who had been arrested on their behalf off of all of their legal aid. So that's my understanding.
Yes, they were also trying to what was in that. Now, obviously, we're going off of what we've read. I've read from a GoFundMe for this woman who was put in a position where everything was supposed to be paid for, and they, like, right before the trial was starting, they said, no, we're pulling your attorneys, and we're not going to cover any of your legal fees. We're just going to, like, leave you high and dry. Also said, wasn't it in there that they were trying to marry people to bring them into the country?
Yes.
Yes.
That it had been floated that this 19-year-old marry like a 37-year-old just to get papers or something. It just is. And again, these are allegations someone has made. I don't think, we know for a fact anything. It hasn't, been tried or anything like that. But I do know that this young woman from Peru or Venezuela or whatever country, I can't remember, has been adamant that she is going to pursue legal recourse for what she experienced. And I will tell you that, like, one of my obsessions is watching cult documentaries about cults, real life stories about cults, because it's very interesting to me. And some of the allegations, like, there are characteristics of cults, and there are certain things. There's, like, I don't know, like half a dozen characteristics that are very common in cults. Not all cults have all of them, but many have lots of them. And so if you look at the characteristics, it's like the NXIVM cult that was big in the news like 3 or 4 years ago. Fascinating and enraging story of how these people lost not only millions of dollars investing in this sham thing, but, like, girls were brought over by parents who trusted this NXIVM bullshit thing. 19, 18, 16. They were minors. They weren't 19, but, like, and groomed by Keith Raniere of NXIVM. One was kept in a closet, for a long period of time because she had run afoul of the cult. So I'm just saying it is a very dangerous thing, especially if your values are tied up with the messaging of the cult. It's not just like personal. Like NXIVM's whole thing was like same thing with Scientology, is just like we are going to, we are the next level of human expansion, and not showing at all how like when I hear people talking about Scientology, for example, they just say it is what's necessary for humanity. It's what's necessary, but they don't say why. It's just like the endless stream of brainwashing they've absorbed. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
really
really
sad.
true. I was a reporter in Miami when the whole Jim Jones thing came down,
Yeah.
and there was a correspondent who was sent to, I think it was Nicaragua or wherever they were, and was just caught in the crossfire of this whole thing. But it is this group think that takes over, and the phrase "drinking the Kool-Aid," that's where it came
Yeah.
from,
Yes, that's true.
because all these people drank Kool-Aid with cyanide and died, and it's like, how did you get there? I mean, you would
But
think
you know what? A lot of times I think when they examine people who join cults, they have high intelligence. It's not a matter of gullibility necessarily. It's just like a lot of times it is this perfect storm.
right,
People,
working for the higher good, but not
yes. Hi,
exactly.
Lisa. Lisa has the most amazing blog of, recipes. Can you type it in the thing, Lisa?
Right,
She's
if you
such
type
an
it in, we'll include it. We'll put it on the screen.
amazing photographer. And she does a lot of Halloween things, which I love. But anyway, the point is that, like, I think that, like, a lot of times in cults, you've become so separated from your family of origin. You've become so separated from your previous friends. You have invested so much money, so much fucking time, and you feel foolish if you have even come around to recognizing that you were in a cult, that it's very hard to get out there. It's almost like that Chinese, what's it called, like a Chinese,
Yeah,
like,
the finger thing that holds your fingers together, you can't pull apart.
right, exactly. You're so enmeshed in it.
It becomes your identity.
And they
It
force and
does,
they
but
make
like,
it so that it's your identity. They strip everything
right,
they tell you that everything that you know and believe and the people you love are the bad.
right,
And that we're the
exactly.
good. We're the
Person,
people that
person,
love you. We're the people that will support you.
right,
This is you were all in this together. We're all in this to stop
and
the abuse
then
of animals,
right,
in this case.
and then, like, when it is this thing, and cults often do this, hint hint, is try to get everyone to live close together, if not in the same compound, because you can
Yep.
control them better,
Yes. For sure.
but then at that point you're usually so invested emotionally, financially, time wise. It's so hard to get out, and I can only feel compassion, like that woman from Bad Vegan, what's her name, she owned Pure Food and Wine
Chloe, not
in New
Chloe.
York.
Chloe, right?
No, 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 no,
No, it's
that's
the other one. It's
yeah,
the other one that the husband, right? The
uh,
partner,
yeah,
boyfriend,
boyfriend and
partner.
husband. There
Yeah.
is the cults function in many different ways, but there is a possibility, which is what she was under, which was coercive control of a cult of one. You have one Svengali like character, and then it becomes the fallacy of what's it called? Fallacy of lost something or another, investments or something. Like, it's just like, it's so hard to get out because of how much money you've sunk into it, how many friendships and family members you've estranged.
Right. You've told them they're wrong. They're wrong. There was a
Yeah.
documentary about that one, right?
Yes,
Right.
yes,
Right.
yes, 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 yes. It's
Yes.
called Bad Vegan.
From
Thank you, Lisa.
Motel.
Lisa, tell us your blog too.
So the girl for DxE that we're talking about, I did a search while you were talking, is Rachel Ziegler, right? And
Yes, yes.
I found a post of hers from July 12th, 2021 that says, I'll just read the top two sentences. Those who think that coming forward about consent violations, sexual misconduct, or abuse is about a power trip, ego, or gaining anything, you've clearly never done it. I have gained nothing from this, but since you never bothered to reach out and ask, let me tell you what I've lost. Anybody who stands up against evil is always going to be attacked. Always going to be attacked. Obviously, Lisa's saying it's like people have been romance scammed and don't want to give them up. Yes. And a lot of people in abusive relationships, they stay. There's many reasons why people stay. And one of the number one reasons that women stay in an abusive relationship is because they're pets.
Yeah, that's very true.
Finding a new place to live with animals, especially when you go into how about the woman who was killed by her boyfriend who had all the pigs, who was a rescuer? That happened over the last few years. Her abusive boyfriend, she couldn't leave because she couldn't leave the animals, and he ended up killing her.
Oh my
Pretty sure that's true. I mean, it's been a hot moment, but
well, and animal shelters are saying that they're filling back up with animals again, and that's also economic. But like,
yes.
it's so hard to find an apartment. With like, there's so many landlords who do not allow animals, and
if you do, they charge an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
It's just
That's true. Pet rent too.
very unkind.
It is incredibly difficult. And if you do a search for Rachel, you do a search under her name, Rachel Ziegler, you will find information. You'll find her. You'll find, if you do DxE, you'll find what they had to say about it, and you'll see that there's a number of people I know actually who are commenting in support of DxE, other animal rights activists, and their Vegan Street posted Rachel's Facebook page. So now this is just our opinions, right? We make that clear.
We're making claims. We're saying
right. This is our opinions. That this is how we feel. All of us have probably seen this in action, in person. I've seen the people that get into it. I see how they react to things. I see how they react to being pushed, and saying, like, I've had to say, look, I don't want you doing a cube by my festival. It's not because I'm not vegan enough. It's because I want the people who are not vegan to come to my festival and not walk by a cube.
Hallelujah.
And
run away.
And run away thinking that they're walking into that type of environment.
Yeah.
There's a place for everything. My vegan festival is not that place.
Yeah, exactly. And
right?
Your house, your rules. So
yes. So that was, let me see, guys, I'm fading. Oh, you sent it to all of us, Ellen. Good job.
We need to go now.
Right. So let's close it out.
Right.
I mean, this is obviously an important topic. We can bring it
you
back
can carry
next
on.
week.
It's just I
gotta eat dinner.
So it's all good. So Ellen, thank you so let's close it out. So thank you for the topic. Thank you for updating a summer break. I like that we took this little break. I think it's healthy for us. Well, I couldn't come on in August any of the Wednesdays, so it worked out. And we'll be back. I don't know what the topic is next week. It might be more of the same. I think it's important that we talk about these types of things in the vegan world that are happening, and maybe we'll just continue it and not be a DxE title, but just like, we should talk about what's going on and what we've all experienced, not just in the vegan world, just in this world as being females. And we can definitely bring that into what happens to the cows and the chickens and everybody else. Right. All right. So let me close it out. Thank you, Sovereign. Thank you, Ellen. Feel better. Drink lots of fluids. And thank you, Marla. And again, thank you for joining us with this whole Facebook. Thank you for coming over to YouTube. And please like and subscribe to YouTube if you're on it. Please go check out virtualadventurouslive.com and enter our contest to win our 12 prize packs. Thank you to the Gentle Barn for sponsoring this month for September of our lives and everything else. And I just lost my train of thought, but that's okay. VCon Experience in November in Los Angeles. Definitely check that out and sign up and join us there. It's going to be an incredible experience that is like none other that you've ever experienced. And that's a reason to go. Plus all the great food in LA that you get to eat while you're out there. And it's November, so it's beautiful weather. Other than that, thank you. Be safe, be careful, keep dodging COVID because it's out there. And if you do get sick, please take care of yourself and be careful not to give it to others. We will see you next week. Thanks so much. Bye.